sure you were about to lose your best friend? Zoe showed up at my door with a black eye and said today was the day we were getting her things from her dad's house while he was at work. I'd been begging her to leave for months, ever since he broke her wrist, and seeing her face all swollen made me want to kill him myself. We drove to her house in silence, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, both of us knowing we had maybe 2 hours before his shift ended. The house reeked of beer and cigarettes, bottles everywhere, and I kept checking the window every few seconds while we threw her clothes into garbage bags. My heart stopped when I heard his truck pull up outside, that broken muffler sound I'd learned to fear. Zoe made this horrible whimpering noise, and I knew we were screwed because her dad was already stumbling toward the front door, drunk in the middle of his workday. He crashed through the door and saw us with the bags, and his face went purple with rage. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he roared, spit flying from his mouth. I tried to explain, but my voice came out shaky and scared, which made me hate myself because I promised Zoe I'd protect her. He slammed the door behind him so hard the walls shook, trapping us. And when Zoe tried to reason with him, he backhanded her so hard she hit the wall and slid down it. I screamed and caught her before she hit the floor, blood from her nose soaking my shirt, and suddenly I was angrier than scared. He smashed a beer bottle against the doorframe and came at us with a jagged neck. "Nobody steals from me," he said, and I pushed Zoe behind me even though my legs were shaking so bad I could barely stand. We backed into the kitchen and he followed, taking his time, enjoying our fear. He slashed the bottle across my arm when I tried to shield Zoe, the glass cutting deep, hot blood immediately running down to my fingers and dripping on the linoleum. The pain was incredible, but it made everything clear. He was really going to kill us this time. I grabbed a pan from the stove and swung at his head, but he ducked and I only clipped his shoulder, making him stumble but not stopping him. He punched me in the stomach so hard I dropped to my knees gasping, unable to breathe, my vision going black at the edges. While I was down, he kicked me in the ribs and I felt something crack, white-hot pain shooting through my chest, tasting blood in my mouth. Through tears and pain, I saw Zoe grab a knife from the counter and my heart stopped because I knew this would make everything worse. He caught her wrist as she swung and they struggled, him twice her size, twisting her arm until something popped and she screamed, the knife clattering across the floor. I managed to dial 911 with bloody shaking fingers, sobbing our address to the dispatcher who kept asking me to repeat myself while he dragged Zoe by her hair through the kitchen. She was clawing at his hands, her feet scrambling for purchase on the blood-slicked floor, crying and begging him to let go. He threw her onto the back porch so hard the screen door came off its hinges. He picked up the knife and followed her outside, standing over her while she tried to crawl away, saying she'd never embarrass him again, that he'd raised her, and this was how she repaid him. I forced myself up despite the stabbing pain in my ribs, my left arm useless and bleeding, and grabbed a shovel leaning against the wall. I swung it with everything I had left and hit him across the back, but he barely flinched, turning and punching me in the face so hard I saw stars and felt my nose break. Blood poured into my mouth and I staggered backward, the world spinning. The sirens were so faint, like they were coming from another city, another world where help actually arrived in time. He pressed the knife to Zoe's throat and she was begging, "Daddy, please, I love you, please don't do this. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." Her voice was so small and broken, and I knew I had one chance left. I threw myself at him with everything I had, and we crashed through the porch railing, splinters of wood flying everywhere as we fell into the yard. He landed on top of me with all his weight, driving every bit of air from my lungs, my broken ribs screaming in agony. He still had the knife and raised it above my chest while I was paralyzed, unable to breathe. I caught his wrists, but he was so much stronger, and the blade kept coming down, inch by terrible inch, my arms shaking with the effort of holding him back. I could hear myself screaming, but it sounded far away, like someone else's voice, like I was already floating outside my body watching this happen. Zoe was trying to pull him off, but her broken wrist made her weak, and he elbowed her in the face, sending her sprawling in the dirt. The knife tip touched my chest, and I felt it pierce my shirt, then my skin, just breaking through, a sharp point of pain that promised so much worse to come. I looked into his eyes and saw nothing human there at all, just rage and alcohol and years of violence that would end with us dead in his backyard. My arms were giving out, muscles burning and failing, the blade sinking deeper, and the sirens still sounded miles away, and I knew the cops wouldn't make it in time. Full story on